Hi, NSG community. How are you guys? Happy Sunday. We are listening to Always or As, I don't know. I always get this song name wrong, but I love this song. So rock out for a little bit. And let's hope Alexa behaves. Hi, Alexa, stop. She's so good, y'all. I love her. Happy Sunday. All right, folks, so this is my first live for the start of spring, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling extra springy. I'm feeling really good about things. I feel like whatever challenges were going on, that's the winter's problems, right? But those things I'm gonna leave in the winter. Spring is blooming something really good for all of us. So whatever happened on the 20th and before then, leave it there and let's jump into this spring with some new hope and some new energy. All right, folks. So today we are focusing on a topic of forgiveness. And for this topic, I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was one that I was like, okay, forgiveness. All right, this is what we're going with. So those who have been watching the lives, y'all know that I'm really big on just kind of praying on things, and wherever I'm led is what I'm going to talk about. So forgiveness for yourself is the topic for today. So let's kick into it. So the title is Forgive Yourself. I did the best I could. And when we talk about the best that we could, it really brings us into a mind space of saying, listen, we're not always going to get it right. We don't always have the answers. We don't always have the information. And yet the things that we hold on to and the things that we regret and we feel bad about holds us back from whatever we were supposed to learn through those things that we did, that we are holding on to regretful thoughts and feelings around. When we think about this idea of forgiveness and forgiving yourself, it is something that I feel like we don't really put to use enough. Many of us don't put it to use enough because it's something that it's like this freeing, releasing feeling that you get when you finally say, listen, I did the best I could. I was coming from, if we want to talk about forgiveness for past incidents, past things that we were led to do because we were in a space where we hadn't fully come to a place of understanding of how our responses, right? We talked about the Who Are You series, and Uncovering Yourself series rather, where we talked about how some of your responses are really a reflection of the things that you're holding on to and that's buried deep inside of you that you weren't ready to address. And in those spaces, when you're operating in those spaces, oftentimes you're going to find yourself behaving in such a way that's not the most favorable, right? It's not your highest moments. And it's because there are so many things that is going on for you. You're in protection mode. You feel triggered. You are, this person is reminding you of something, but you can't place your finger on it because you didn't at the time do the work to uncover what it was about this person or their actions. So you responded in accordance with what you were feeling. And now you're holding on to regret because you feel like these repeated actions then labeled you as as angry, as aggressive, as having an attitude, as an asshole, as a bitch. Like, these are things that we hear and then we take ownership of over ourselves. It's like, I'm just in bitch mode. Are you though? Are you responding to something that you're really afraid to deal with? So is it bitch mode or is it hurt mode? We gotta forgive ourselves and allow ourselves allowances for the things that we did not know, for the work that we haven't done yet, and for the ways that it shows up in our lives when we're interacting with people. That forgiveness is hopefully the thing that you'll use to then keep you pushing forward and keep you wanting to do better and know more. Because when you reach that stage of forgiveness, you more than likely got there because you got curious about how you show up and why it is that you do the things that you do. And that curiosity then led to a change in action, and the change in action then led to a change in you. So forgive yourself for the past. There is another level of forgiveness that we also should touch on for this live session, and that is forgiveness after you've learned the lessons, after you've uncovered the triggers, after you've made some efforts to do differently and to grow and so forth. And you find yourself slipping back into past behaviors. Forgive yourself when you find yourself in those moments, right? Because the truth of the matter is, and I spoke about this, and I'm probably going to be talking about some of these things over and over again, because it's just, when you find out how interwoven all of these different things are, it amazes us. So it's just going to come up again. So when you've done the work to uncover the things that have held you back for so long, know that it's not like this magic pill where it's like you know it and now you're done. You've learned that lesson and then you move on. We know just with anything, sometimes we got to hear it again. Sometimes we need to be reminded, or sometimes we think that the lesson was just in our interaction with coworkers. And then when we do it in our home, in our friend setting, it's like, oh shit, hold up. I thought I knew better. No, you just didn't realize how big this was. So don't be upset. Don't feel like you haven't reached milestones. Don't take away your own celebration of your growth because you made a mistake. Forgive yourself and say, I am adjusting. I am readjusting my whole way of being to now respond to this higher self that I'm coming into, right? And I say higher self not in like this divine way, however, it really kind of is. I say higher self in that you're learning more and you're growing more and you're putting these things to work. So you're reaching new heights in your own personal development. And when you find yourself going backwards and making those mistakes, right? I talked about, I posted on regression. Know that it happens. It does. You're not immune from it. We're not immune from it. And to hold yourself in this box of accountability to your mistake in such a way that it hinders any future growth is not okay. It's not okay. So accept the fact that you are going to find yourself in places where you're repeating the mistakes from lessons that you learned. I feel like I need to kind of restate that because I confused myself a little bit in that. So let me say this. Allow yourself room to make mistakes, to make the same mistakes as you're growing. And allow yourself that room, because each time you make the mistake, if your mind is still focused on that growth and you're keeping your sights set high, then what happens is as you make that mistake again, you're going to wonder, okay, what happened? Why did I do this now? Why was that my response? You're going to answer the question. When you answer the question, it's always a thing where you want to go in and put a buffer in, or put a stop in to say, okay, now that I understand why I did it this time, what am I going to do to offset that? So you're upping your game and you're understanding how big that particular problem was for you, and you're making changes as you go. So you're still in a state of growth. Now, if you get to a point where you're like, damn it, I keep fucking up, I keep making this mistake, then you reach a place where now you're stuck. And this level here is about as far as you're going to go, because you're feeling bad about it. You're holding on to feelings, and you're taking yourself and you're moving yourself down in kind of like your vibe and your energy because you're upset and you're mad at yourself. Forgiveness is a release. And it's not just to say the words, like just saying the words alone, I forgive myself, doesn't really hold weight until you feel it, until you truly believe it, until you know what it is that you're forgiving yourself for, and you can attach that to the end of your sentence. I forgive myself for X. Finish that line. Own it. And then just continue to grow and move forward and do what it is that you were doing. So of course, with all things on these lives, I always like to give coaching suggestions or questions. For this particular live, I knew it was going to kind of be a short one because I feel like the act of it is huge. The words given to it, though, I don't really have much other than what was shared, and that is forgiveness is a form of release that you deserve. And it's the release that's going to keep you climbing higher and higher. And it's the thing that's going to help you continue to be a better person just in general, because you're going to feel better. You're going to understand the purpose of the mistake. So you're not going to hold on to the pain and the anguish and all the negative feelings that you have, because you'll start to recognize that this had to happen. And it had to happen because I had to learn a lesson. So forgive yourself. Notice that I'm only talking about forgiving yourself, and that's because next week is going to be about forgiving others. And I initially thought I can put this in one, but I really felt like that wasn't it. I needed to separate the two. So this one is all about forgiving you. So the questions, right? Let's get into the coaching phase of all of this. The questions that I would highly encourage you guys to ask yourselves as you are trying to move through this journey of forgiving yourself is, what is it that you regret, right? We always got to start with the baseline. So what's the thing that you regret? What's the thing that you're mad at yourself for? What's the thing that you're holding on to feelings, negative feelings about? Name that thing. And then where is this coming from? Like, why are you mad about it? Why do you regret it? Why are you holding on to these feelings? So the why question is really big, because the why question leads you to where it is that you need to go to work on that, so that way you can release. So then after you know where it's coming from, then you want to understand why you're struggling with letting this thing go. And the thing that you're struggling with would be, why are you struggling to forgive yourself? Why are you struggling to release this anger that you have towards yourself in this area, or release these negative feelings that you have towards yourself in that particular area? That usually tells you how it's impacted you. And it'll help you understand where it may show up in other places in your life. That one is something that over time, with more practice of this, you'll start to see the connections in it. Then I have a couple of more questions, and it is, what do you think this says about you? So if you're holding on to something and you're regretting it or you're feeling bad about it, what do you think it says about you? Because that's usually the place where it's holding you prisoner. And that's the area in your life where you're not fully reaching your potential. And that's where, that's your area of growth. There is no other way to say it. I was trying to figure out a different way around it. That's the area where you need to grow in. Wherever it is, where whatever you think it says about you is the area that you should focus on, because that's the one that has the negative self-talk. That's the one that has like the deficit that you need to improve on. And I say these things, right, and they may sound like negative terms, and yet it's not. It's just calling out what's not okay so that way you can make it so. So that way you can get to a better place with these things. And sometimes we don't like to be honest with ourselves. So instead, our subconscious takes over and it causes us to act out. So let's move past the point of saying, you know, I'm not going to say these terms about yourself. Pay attention to your behaviors, because what you don't say, your behaviors will. So check you so you can grow you. And then after you've asked yourself all of these questions, there is a behavioral shift that solidifies the whole deal and helps you to move forward. Now, you have to determine what that behavioral shift is after you have the answers to the questions. Some people say that it's really helpful to write things out. For me, my biggest thing, prayer on everything. Prayer on everything. Like I don't even, the answers are not, my faith is really, really, really strong and important to me. So it's not me that's answering these questions when I ask myself these things, right? I talk about coaching myself, but it's really conversations that I'm having with God from a coaching perspective. And that's how the answers come, and I trust that process. For other people, it's like they're calling out, and it's just like this whole energy and vibe thing. It's like, what is my energy telling me? How am I feeling? How am I responding in these moments? And how do I want to feel? Visualizations work for other people. You'll know what works for you. Trust yourself in that. Trust yourself that you'll know. And put that to work. Let that work for you to help you figure out what behavioral changes you need to make, because that is your growth. And then the last thing is, once you make that behavioral change, this one is not really a question. This is just the end result of it. It's a release. You're releasing yourself from the hurt and the pain and the anger and the regret. You're releasing yourself up to free yourself for this new space that you deserve to be in. So this one concludes the forgiveness series. I hope that this resonated for you, and I hope that you are continuing to grow and flourish and continuing to do the hard work of self-discovery and improvement, because while it may be hard in the beginning, very soon after it becomes a way of being, and it just transforms you into this whole different person, and you start to realize this is who wanted to come out this whole time. So share your stories also, right? Share your stories. Let me know how you're growing and glowing. I love to hear those things. Pass this around. Talk about it amongst your friends, because we know that we want to pass along healing and growth and all that good stuff to one another, right? We share TikTok videos and memes all the damn time. How about we share some positive vibes in the form of real talk and growth and so forth. So click like, share, comment, all those great things. Also, same deal as always, if you are interested in a coaching session or booking a packet, DM me. I'll let you know what the next steps are. If you are curious, still do the same thing, DM me. I'll let you know what the next steps are. And in the meantime, happy Sunday, folks. Happy springtime. Let yourself bloom and never stop growing. Bye.